Okay, so moving on to the next question. Here they give us the graph, and what they want to do is to identify the zeros and then write an equation. Alright, so first things first, where are these zeros? Well, the first one is right here, and then the second one is right there. But see how it goes through it? So it hits this one once, but then it goes and it hits this one like twice real quick. So it goes dish, dish, and bounces back up. Okay, so for this case, what does x equal? -6, 0, and then it hits 0 again. Alright, so now, if they say, can you write an equation with these? Sure. Alright, so we say f of x equals, and we just write it in like this factor form, okay? So it's x minus our zeros, -6, x minus 0, and x minus 0. Alright, sweet. So now what I want to do is just kind of continue, and this makes it x plus 6. X minus 0 is just x, and x minus 0 is x. And now I multiply, and I'll just do this. X times 6 times x squared. Oops. And then if I distribute, I get x cubed plus 6x squared, and that's what f of x is equal to. Voila. And so we kind of took the backwards approach. We started with the zeros and made the equation. Alright, so we take those zeros, we put it in factor form, and you just multiply them out. Alright, so what we're going to use is this kind of method to do the irrational conjugate theorem. And this is the same idea. So in this case, though, we have, if you have something like this, a plus the square root of b equals 0, then we have to add a minus the square root of b equals 0. Okay, so that's what's going on here. So here we go. We have, in this one, using the zeros to write the polynomial function. A polynomial function of at least degree of the rational coefficients, a leading coefficient of 1, and zeros of 3 and 2x plus 5. So x equals 3, right? X equals 2 plus the square root of 5. And you have to add x minus 2 root 5. That's what this irrational conjugate theorem is. If we have 2 plus root 5, you have to then add 2 minus root 5. Okay, so now what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to put it in factor form. So f of x equals x minus 3, and then I should be the brackets. Okay, so then I have x minus the quantity of 2 plus root 5, and x minus the quantity of 2 minus root 5. Okay, so there we go. Now I put it, now we need to multiply everything out. So here's where it gets a little challenging. You do want to distribute that negative sign in. And the reason you want to do that is it's going to set things up much nicer that way in our multiplication. So here we go. I have this x minus 3. Then I have this. I have x minus 2. So I distribute, I get -2 and minus root 5. And then if I put this in parentheses here, and distribute, I get -2 plus root 5. When I do that, Now what do we notice? We have the exact same terms, but a different sign in the middle. And that helps us in our multiplication, because really I don't have to worry so much. I can just use my shortcuts. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm going to set this up again. X minus 3, and now I have this x minus 2 squared minus square root of 5 squared. Okay, so since I had those, when I multiply, right, my middle term cancels out, so I'm just left with the first term squared times the second term squared, and it's always minus. Positive times negative. Okay, so I'm using a shortcut there. Now I'm going to use this shortcut. So I have x minus 3, and now I take my first term, right, I square it, x squared, multiply my two terms together, negative 2x, and then double it, so it's negative 4x. And then take my last term and square that, so it's 4. And then minus square root of 5 squared is just 5. Okay, so now I'm going to continue on over here. F of x equals x minus 3 times x squared minus 4x. And then I'm just going to combine 4 and negative 5, and that's negative 1. And now I'm multiplying. Alright, so when I do this again, I'm going to go ahead and do this kind of in a vertical fashion. I get x cubed minus 4x squared minus x. And then when I multiply here, I get negative 3x squared plus 12x plus 3. And now that will give me my final answer. F of x equals x cubed minus 7x squared plus 11x plus 3. And that is the answer I'm looking for. Okay, so there's a lot going on there. I totally know. So let's just talk about that real quick. You're given the zeros 3 and 2 plus root 5. Okay, you, because of this irrational conjugate theorem, must add the a minus b square root of b. So it's 2 minus the root 5. You want to put it in our factor form, alright, and then you're going to multiply it out. Now when we multiply it out, it's easier if we change it to this difference of 2 squares and then multiply it out from there. Alright, go ahead and try number 7. Just do the best you can. Alright, I'm going to show the work here, but don't worry if you get it wrong. I understand it's a little challenging at first here, but just try and see if you can start to figure out what's going on with it. Alright, pause now. I'm going to show the answer. Okay. There you go. That is 4.5. Hope that makes sense.